Thank you for joining me on Teshia Talks Trafficking. You can also follow my talks on Spotify. If you are listening to me on Spotify, thank you for dropping by. If I provide you with even just one valuable piece of information during this talk, then I have achieved my goal. My ultimate mission is to expose exploitation. The topic of Teshia Talks Trafficking is, of course, human trafficking, or trafficking in persons, otherwise in short, TIP. Human trafficking is the exploitation of people's vulnerabilities, and it takes place when a person is either tricked, coerced, or manipulated for the use of their body or for their labor. It is very important to be aware of South African legislation, which indicates that human trafficking does not necessarily require transportation. A person can be trafficked and exploited without being transported. I need to continue my previous focus on child sexual abuse material, and that is what we will do today. So according to the amendments of the Films and Publications Act, the actual definition of child pornography is as follows. Child pornography includes any image, however created, or any description of a person, real or simulated, who is depicted, made to appear, look like, represented, or described as being under the age of 18 years, engaged in sexual conduct, or participating in or assisting another person to participate in sexual conduct, or showing or describing the body or parts of the body of such a person in a manner or in circumstances which, within context, amounts to sexual exploitation, or in such a manner that it is capable of being used for the purposes of sexual exploitation. I love to share these pieces of legislation, although it is quite a mouthful, but for all of us to truly understand what the legislation of South Africa truly indicates, so that we know what our legal grounds are. So child pornography, which we are also trying to rather redefine as child sexual abuse material. The Commission recommends that the term child pornography be substituted with the term child sexual abuse material in the criminal law. So where does this child sexual abuse material come from? Well, some of it is, of course, filmed. Some of it is produced with consent. However, in many cases, we have heard from many victims or many people who have moved away from the pornography industry that even going into it willingly, it often turns into multiple sexually abusive situations. And then where else does it come from? It comes from sexting. It comes from sextortion, and also from AI-generated material, and as mentioned just earlier, abuse that is filmed. So online facilitated child sexual abuse is defined as sexual abuse perpetrated with an online component, including where abusers approached victims through an online platform. So this would be, of course, WhatsApp, it would be Telegram, it would be social media, chat groups, or Messenger on Facebook, for instance. And then also where materials were shared online, and where people were groomed online and sexually abused offline. So when we look at exploitation and specifically human trafficking, there are a number of contributing factors in South Africa. However, the two that really stick out in this regard is technology and pornography, of course, and then especially absent parents and child-led households. Now, this stands out to me because I want to emphasize the fact that absent parents and child-led households is considered a contributing factor to exploitation and human trafficking in South Africa. So parents, please listen up. Family members with children, please listen up. And also those of us who work with children every day or frequently, such as teachers. Please listen and please take note of vital information that you can use in your sphere of influence. We also have some top-known ways in South Africa in which people get trafficked, trapped in exploitation and so forth. And at number 3 comes the lover boy method, and this involves online grooming. So online grooming is something that is actually in the top 5 ways in which people become trapped in human trafficking and exploitation. So please do keep that in mind. So online grooming is grouped together with false job advertisement sold by family members or family friends, trafficked by a friend, and abduction. Those are the top 5 ways known in South Africa in which people get trapped, trafficked, and exploited. So when it comes to online facilitated child sexual abuse, we see that it's a power and manipulation game. So sexual abuse, either online or offline, involves betrayal of trust. Abusers might already know or might disguise their age and identity online to create a relationship or relationships pretending to be someone of the same age, for example, and often even someone of the same gender. Having gained trust, abusers use their power and influence over children and young people to manipulate them into performing acts for the abuser's benefit. And being online might also encourage the child to do things, and not just might, it actually does, in many cases, encourage the child to do things that they would not normally do offline for the obvious reasons. I would like to share with you some quotes from some young people with regards to online abuse that they've experienced. This guy made me do things. He was like angry at me sometimes. At that age, I was easily persuaded and I thought this guy truly loved me. And then this one says, the power play that people have because ultimately they know that they have more knowledge than you. Another young person shared, it's not just a photo. It's me violated and exposed in the worst moments of my life. So experiencing online sexual abuse can feel like the world is imploding, and this is how it feels to most victims. The vastness of the abuse and its impact can be absolutely overwhelming to them, and it can feel as though the foundation of their world has suddenly been shattered under them. Survivors also describe feeling as though they might never be free of the images, videos, and interactions, which is a constant shadow or a dark cloud that follows them everywhere. They feel as though they face their perpetrator daily, with no escape or no opportunity for a new identity. So one can just try and imagine that feeling of your identity being stolen and taken from you, and what effect that has on a mind that is under 18 years of age. It is difficult not to know where the images and videos actually continue to exist, whether they are still being circulated, and also who is actually accessing them. Survivors can be consumed by anxiety of reappearing images, and it is worsening since AI has been exploding online, and AI has developed new opportunities for image-based abuse. Robin Wolfson Foster says that up to 60% of South African children have seen pornography by age 10. 20% of children have been subjected to sexual abuse and exploitation online. 20% is extremely high. And harmful sexual behaviors among children, including rape and incest, are actually at a critical level. Robin also continues to say, more than half of the 9 to 70-year-olds in South Africa have seen sexual images on a phone or online device in the past year. 8% took naked photos or videos of themselves, and 2/3 of those children shared them. Some experts report up to 15 cases of sextortion a day involving children, with earliest exposure to pornography happening at preschool even. There is also a trauma symptom checklist for children, which is a result of a research that was done. So the impacts that online child sexual exploitation and abuse have had on children. A self-report measure of post-traumatic distress. So it starts with sexting being at the lowest, and then it starts escalating, moving towards sexual abuse, then contacted by adults in sexual context. Then it escalates a bit more to sexual abuse online, and then penetrating abuse. However, one would think that it would end with penetrating abuse, but there is trauma that is even worse and has shown a higher escalation, such as documented sexual abuse, sex as self-harm, and then selling sex, images of sexual abuse that has been shared. Very interesting statistics. So unfortunately, pornography has an extremely high demand, as we all know, and where there's a demand, there will always be a supply. Any pornographic material of a person under 18 years of age, we need to always remember, is legally considered child abuse, even if there was so-called consent from the under 18-year-old person. With regards to those who view or consume this kind of material, whether the content is with minors or with adults, you have to remember that one does not know under what circumstances that person is or was recorded or photographed. There are many people who will argue, but pornography is my personal choice. Pornography is harmless. It is only an image or a video that I'm watching. But it's important for us to always remember that you do not know under what circumstances the person or people that you are watching was filmed or photographed. We're also currently seeing that child pornography or child sexual abuse material is on the rise in South Africa. And that is according to 2025 reliable statistics that we have access to. Authorities are also getting far more serious about this worldwide, and one can get a lifelong sentence for child sexual abuse. We need to remember that one doesn't just wake up one day or one morning and become sexually attracted to a minor. So pornography is a progressive addiction. Sexual offenses toward their own children is also a growing problem. So sexual offenders, should I rather say, towards their own children is becoming a problem that is growing. And it is often not reported. I would like to share with you very, very important contact details before we go on to the hotline number and Missing Children South Africa, which I always end off with. But before we go there, with regards to pornography, there are some amazing individuals and or professional organizations that are involved in the fight against harmful online material, people who are also involved in counseling and who can assist when it comes to abuse of children online. The first one that I would like to share with you is called STOP, which stands for Standing Together to Oppose Pornography. And there is Clive Himman. For the life of me, I do not have his contact number noted down here, so I will come back to that. And then Project Exodus. You can search for them online. You will find them online. And then also their contact number is 084 406 0086. And then Break Free. I believe they are called the Break Free Foundation. Also search for them online. And a contact number for them is 071 537 6035. And then an incredible organization that I would always very easily recommend to anyone is Fight the New Drug. Please search them online. Follow them, especially on Instagram. They provide the most interesting and informative reels, videos, and posts which you can share with loved ones as well. And then lastly is an organization called Naked Truth Projects. You can also search for them online, and their contact number is 084 468 7884. So just jumping back to Standing Together to Oppose Pornography, Clive Himman, he is very well connected. So if you struggle with any of the other numbers that I've provided you with, you can contact Clive Himman on 083 463 4762. And remember, I always say, if you suspect something, say something. If there's anything within your family, within your friendship group, within your streets, down the road, within your community that is suspicious, anything that might be a exploitation situation or a human trafficking situation, anything with regards to pornography or prostitution, you can contact our national hotline number. It is the National Human Trafficking Hotline number, which is 0800 222 777. And remember, that is a 24/7 anonymous reporting hotline, and they also provide free job vetting. Then remember Missing Children South Africa, who works not only with missing children but also missing adults. Their number is 072 MISSING or 072 647 7464. And then, of course, the Joseph Movement WhatsApp line, which is 082 766 9870. And also search us, Joseph Movement, online. Follow, like, and share our posts. It can possibly save someone from falling prey to exploitation or trafficking. And you can also be part of our Combat Human Trafficking WhatsApp group. Simply send a WhatsApp to the Joseph Movement WhatsApp line and ask to be added. The number again is 082 766 9870. Thank you very much for joining me, Teshia de Klerk, here to help expose exploitation. And remember, if you suspect something, say something. Good day and God bless.